I told you that a hug could be so much more than just a gesture. What if, with the right touch, timing, and energy, you could make a man feel something deep that he doesn't fully understand? Here's the truth. Men remember how you make them feel. They might forget what you said, or the details of a conversation, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. Today, I want to share an important truth that every man needs to understand in order to gain respect from women. While researching female psychology and what drives attraction, I came across a saying that changed my perspective entirely. Imagine touching a man in a way that sparks something deep, raw, and unexpected. He won't be able to shake it. And a hug, a well-executed and intentional hug, can be one of the most powerful tools in your arsenal. Why? Because men don't often receive physical affection the way women do. They walk through life carrying the weight of expectations, strength, control, and they're not used to someone holding them just right, in a way that makes them feel safe, seen, and wanted. When you're the woman who gives them that feeling, you become unforgettable. After today, every time you hug a man, he'll feel it in ways he never expected. The silent power of a hug is undeniable. A hug is never just a hug when it's done right. Most people treat hugs as a formality, a quick squeeze, an automatic response. But what if I told you that a hug, done with intention, could make a man think about you long after you've walked away? Here's the truth. Men crave physical touch more than they admit. Society has conditioned them to be strong, tough, and emotionally unaffected. Most men go through life deprived of real affection, which is why a perfectly timed, well-executed hug can have a nearly hypnotic effect on them. It's not just about touching their body. It's about touching their mind. Once you do that, he won't be able to forget you. Science has already proven that physical touch triggers powerful chemical reactions in the brain. When you hug someone in a meaningful way, their body releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin makes people feel safe, connected, and emotionally attached. It's the same hormone released when a mother holds her newborn, when lovers share intimate moments, or when someone feels deeply understood by another. Now imagine being the woman who effortlessly triggers this reaction in a man. Imagine hugging him in a way that makes him feel seen, desired, and deeply connected to you. Most men don't get this from just anyone. They get quick, rushed, and meaningless embraces. But if you do it differently, if you understand the psychology behind it, you'll stay on his mind for days. Here's where most women go wrong. They hug like they're afraid to be felt. They keep it short, stiff, and polite. But if you want a man to think about you long after the moment has passed, you need to let the hug be something he feels in his soul. First, the pause before the hug. Lock eyes with him for a moment and let there be a split second of silence where the buildup is felt. That's where the tension is created. Next, the way you lean in. Don't rush it. Let your body melt into his, making him feel your presence, your warmth, the softness of you. And finally, the pull away. Here's the real trick. Don't be the first to let go. Men are used to women breaking the embrace too quickly. But if you linger for just a second longer, if you let your hands gently trace over his back or squeeze his arm before pulling away, he'll feel that moment deeply. Every time he thinks of warmth, comfort, and connection, he'll think of you. The subtle art of using a hug to spark desire is something many women overlook. Most think a hug is just a friendly gesture, a casual way to say hello or goodbye. But what if I told you that a simple embrace could trigger a reaction in a man that makes him crave you, without him even realizing why? The truth is, physical touch is one of the most powerful psychological triggers in human connection. It bypasses logic, penetrates deep into the subconscious, and leaves an imprint that lingers long after the moment is over. When you do it right, he won't just enjoy the hug, he'll start wanting more. A hug, when executed with the right balance of warmth, pressure, and timing, can do something no words ever could. It can create an intimate moment without needing to say a thing. Here's how it works. Men are biologically wired to respond to physical touch, but unlike women, they don't get it as often. Women hug their friends, link arms, and touch each other naturally. Men, on the other hand, typically shake hands, keep their distance, and don't experience that kind of casual intimacy from just anyone. So when a woman hugs him differently, when she does it in a way that feels deliberate, lingering, and intentional, he notices, and more importantly, he feels it. A well-executed hug has the power to activate a man's craving for closeness, and once that craving is triggered, it doesn't fade easily. Timing is everything. A hug that's too quick feels impersonal. A hug that's too long can feel awkward. But the 3-second rule, that's where the magic happens. In that first second, he feels the warmth of your body against his. In the second second, his mind registers the softness of you. By the third second, his brain begins to process the feeling of closeness. And just when his body starts to relax into the moment, you pull away, not abruptly, but gently. You let your hands linger just a little longer, and that's when he'll truly feel it. Let your fingers gently trail off as you step away, and in that moment, something interesting happens in his mind. He begins to replay the hug. If you're ready to embrace your silent confidence, hit like, subscribe, and comment, claim my space below. Let's continue this journey together. Now let's begin, because now he's more aware of your presence than he was before. He's thinking about how you felt, how you smelled, and how naturally you fit into that moment with him. And that feeling stays with him. He may not understand why, but he'll start wanting to be around you more, looking for excuses to touch you or close the space between you whenever he can. All because of a single hug. The delayed release. Hug. Most people end hugs too soon, letting go as soon as they think they should, not realizing that a perfectly timed delay can turn an ordinary embrace into something unforgettable. If you want to make a man think about you long after you've pulled away, you need to master the art of the delayed release. So, what exactly is the delayed release and why does it work? It's that extra moment of connection that happens after the hug should have ended, but before it actually does. It's that subtle pause, that extra second where you don't just let go. You allow him to feel your presence for just a beat longer. Why does this work? Because in human psychology, unexpected moments trigger deeper emotional responses. Most men expect hugs to be predictable, a quick squeeze, and then a routine breakaway. But when you hold on just a second longer, just enough for him to notice, the change. Something shifts. His body relaxes into yours. His mind registers the warmth and the way you aren't in a rush to let go. At that moment, you've planted a thought in his subconscious that won't leave. The key here is subtlety. Don't grip too tightly. Instead, let the pressure feel natural and inviting. Don't pull away too fast. Let the parting feel effortless, as though you're reluctant to leave. but not forcing it. Make sure he notices. If he's expecting a quick hug but feels you hold on just a fraction longer, his mind will latch on to that moment. When you finally pull away, look at him. Hold his gaze for just a second before breaking eye contact. That's when his heart skips. That's when his mind starts asking, was that just a hug? Or was that something more? The backstroke effect. Most women think that once a hug is over, it's done. But if you want to make a man think about you long after you've pulled away, there's one simple trick that will do it. The backstroke. What is it? It's the slight intentional movement of your hand across his back just before the hug ends. A subtle lingering touch that keeps the connection alive, even as the embrace fades. The best part, it's impossible to ignore. Why does the backstroke work like magic? Humans are wired to respond to unexpected sensory experiences. When something feels different than usual, the brain takes notice. A standard hug, he won't remember it. But if as you're pulling away, your hand lightly traces down his back, just enough for him to feel it without seeming deliberate, his brain will react instantly. Why? Because it's an intimate touch. Most people hug with stiff arms, with polite distance, but the moment your hand moves, the moment there's an extra touch that lingers, he feels something deeper. His body remembers that sensation, his mind replays the moment, and even hours later, when he's lying in bed or sitting alone, he'll still feel the ghost of your touch. That's when he realizes he wants more. How to use it without making it obvious. The trick is to make it seem unintentional. Let your hand glide naturally down his back as the hug ends. Keep your touch light, not forceful or obvious, just a gentle glide. Let your fingers brush against him for half a second longer than expected, then step away as if nothing happened. That's when the seed is planted in his mind. That's when he starts wondering, was that on purpose? Or is that just her natural way of hugging? And once a man starts wondering about you, he won't stop thinking about you. The whispered goodbye. Hug. Most women don't say anything when they hug a man. They just embrace, pull away, and move on. But if you want a hug to stay with him, to make sure he never forgets the moment, you need to add the power of a whispered goodbye. Why? Because words can transform a simple hug. Men don't just respond to touch. They respond to words, especially when those words come at the right moment, in the right tone, and in close proximity. A hug already puts you in his personal space. He can feel your breath, your warmth, your energy. But when you add a soft, well-placed whisper just before you pull away, that's when his mind snaps to full attention. Words said in a moment of intimacy carry a different weight. They don't just get heard, they sink into the soul. How to whisper the right words. The key is keeping it simple. You don't need to overthink it. In fact, the more effortless it sounds, the better. Here are a few lines that work like magic. I needed that. You always give the best hugs. Or, I can't wait to see you again. These simple phrases make him feel special, like there's something unique about him. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to Philosophy of Stoicism for more real, relatable advice on navigating the complexities of love and relationships. Remember, relationships take time, care, and effort, but the rewards are worth it. When fear and caution are met with understanding and patience, they transform into trust and connection. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.